It's good, y'all. Welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are back for more pregame analysis. Week 15 going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Supposed to be the Sunday night game, but as the season's gone, now this is the 10 a.m. game, which usually you don't see from Dallas Cowboys, but this should be a very close game to watch. Should be a very fun. We're here to break it down to you, all of it right here, right now. And for this, I got a very special guest on today. We got Julian right here. What's good, Julian?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been a while since I had you on, so glad to get you back on. But we're going to do the normal progression, everything, the same thing. Offense keys, defensive keys, key players, score prediction, you name it. We got all here breaking it down for you right now. Let's get into it. But before we do, make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. My Instagram is going to be at NinerWire_YT. Also, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure to do that. Leave a like on the video. It would be greatly appreciated for me. Helps me out a lot. Also, guys, if you have any questions or comments or anything, make sure to leave them in the live chat below, as always. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, Julian, kind of want to start off with you. You got any opening thoughts that you want to share about this game? How you feeling about it right now?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a tight game. And I think that really the 49ers, I think they really need to get their run game going, because I honestly believe that if Nick Mullens does what he did last time, draws back 35, 40 attempts a game, I just think that I don't know how they're going to – I don't have enough faith in Nick Mullens to win that game, especially without Deebo Samuel, without George Kittle, not healthy Raheem Mostert. I think that you're going to have to get the ball to Jeff Wilson. I think it's going to be a key player right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think Mostert is going to he can't get like 15 carries. It's just coming out. He's too injury prone. He's been injured all year. So I think that, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm totally with you on that. And I mean, you look at Mullens' last game, like he was struggling. And I said on my post-game stream, where I had really nothing to say because it was really all Mullens' fault. Like he was the guy doing the turnovers, making the bad throws. Yes, there were some drops here and there, but it was really turnovers and interceptions and fumbles and everything that just killed us. And Nick Mullens, obviously going to be one of my key players this week. Obviously, we're talking about that a bit earlier than usual, but I mean, Nick Mullens is going to be a key player this game. And I don't know, is he going to be consistent? Is he going to not be consistent? I don't know. Because I mean, we've seen Mullens look like a starting caliber quarterback. I remember we had that quarterback controversy earlier in the year, and now we're here where he looks like a below average backup quarterback. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Nick Mullens does, but we're going to have to rely on our run game a lot. I'm totally with you on that. That actually wasn't my offensive key of the game, but I'm going to assume that it's your offensive key. Oh, he just left. We're having a bit of internet issues, I guess, but hopefully Julian should return in a sec. But let's start with offensive keys to the game. And I'm just going to assume that Julian's offensive key was going to be something to do with the run game. My offensive key is not actually. And when looking at this Cowboys roster, they have one of the worst secondaries in football. And this is something that, in my opinion, is going to be very easy to capitalize on. That secondary and like just an inexperienced secondary. The entire defense isn't bad. And when you don't have a good pass rush or that good of a secondary, it's leading to an absolute nightmare on defense. So my 49ers offense key of the game is going to be a consistent passing game. And yeah, as I said, the Cowboys have one of the worst secondaries in football. And the Niners passing game, don't get me wrong, the Niners passing game is decent. It's not the best. It's decent. And Nick Mullens can make the Niners passing game decent, even with those quick checkdowns that he usually does, along with Garoppolo and everybody else involved. Those quick checkdowns are going to help this team a lot often. So, yeah, man. I think the Niners offensive key, just getting those quick checkdowns and being consistent. Consistency is the real key here, because if we're not consistent, we're not going to win this game, period. But if we're consistent in the passing game, we can really get by those guys like Trayvon Diggs, who's probably their best secondary player, a bit inexperienced though. So we'll have to see what happens. Other guys on the secondary, their secondary is so bad I can't really even name any guys. So yeah, man. And so yeah, just keeping the ball moving in the passing game, that's going to be my offensive key of the game. And before I think Julian, let me text him. There's Julian. Perfect. You had some internet issues, I assume?
Yeah, I just dropped off.
Perfect. Yeah, so I was just talking about my offense key, and I think right before you cut out, I was saying that your offense key, I assume, have to be something to do with the run game.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if he froze again, but I mean, we've had a ton of internet issues on the channel from. Yeah, it's all good, man. Oh, there you are. Okay, were you saying something else about the run game? He keeps freezing. Okay. Let me just let him know that he. Are you there? Hello, Julian?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You keep freezing on and off. Okay. So you were saying something about the run game for your offense key? He's frozen again. Alrighty. So I'm just gonna let me just text him. I don't know if he can hear me at all. But okay, I'm just gonna text him. And I mean, obviously I'll have to upload some. Okay, here he comes back. Are you there now? Julian, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you were saying something about the run game for your offensive key?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Here, wait. I'm gonna text him to try joining on your phone.
The zone run. Can you hear me?
You keep cutting it. Try joining on your phone. That might help. I don't know where you what's going on. Yeah, just try joining on your phone if you can. That might be a good idea. If you can hear that. I'm probably gonna cut out all the parts for the technical difficulties. If you're watching right now, I'll make sure to cut this part out when the live stream is officially done. So stay tuned for that. I'll make sure to do that. So that's all good. We'll keep talking. But yeah, as I said, my offense key was the passing game. And Julian's is someone with the run. He's trying to say something. I don't know. But in the meantime, let's stick to the offense and let's talk about here. Let me remove Julian real quick. I don't know. Julian, if you hear me, put something in the private chat. That might help. But yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Cowboys offense as well. And in my opinion, the Cowboys key to the game is pretty simple. In my opinion, it's protect Andy Dalton. And as I like to say, pressure kills everything, but protection stops everything. And the protection is going to be key for Andy Dalton because you look at this Cowboys offense. Andy Dalton is no Dak Prescott. Andy Dalton has not been able to succeed as well as Dak Prescott can in this situation. And Andy Dalton just needs a lot more help. More help than Dak Prescott, I should say. And to his credit, the offensive line has not been as good as it usually is this year. So that's definitely something to look at. But protection is going to be key for Andy Dalton. They're going to have to give him a lot more time to execute what they need to execute and do everything with that. I mean, he has so many weapons on that offense. You got guys like CeeDee Lamb. You got guys like Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Zeke. There's a lot of guys on that offense that he can use in order to succeed. And yeah, man, I definitely think he has to do that. Julian is back now. I'm hoping that it says the device is not connected right now. So I will hope to let's see what we can do here. If it's not connecting, I don't know. Let me text him real quick. All right. Let's keep talking about the Cowboys offensive key before Julian comes back. I'm going to give him the chance to speak, and I'm probably going to re-emphasize this. I'm going to restate this Cowboys offensive key later on in the video once we're all good. But yeah, I think you definitely it's going to be the lifeline for Andy Dalton. The protection is going to be the lifeline for Andy Dalton, and they're going to need to give him all the time in the world that he needs. Because I mean, we've seen him perform with Cincinnati. We saw him perform, but in Dallas, Andy Dalton's a bit different than he was in Cincinnati. So yeah, man, I definitely think that it's going to be key. Okay, Julian may be back now. All right, you back? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You hear me? Your audio is really quiet.
Oh. Is that
No, do you have like headphones you could plug in? Maybe that might help.
All right, yeah, what do you think?
All right, that sounds good. All right, Julian will come back, but yeah, Cowboys offense. We're talking about Andy Dolan, just protecting him. I say enough. That's going to be the main key for the Cowboys. And I'll talk about this more once Julian comes back. We're trying to solve some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. In the stream, I will make sure to cut out this part from when he starts having the difficulties. And we'll get back to Julian with his offensive key for the 49ers. I just went over my offense key for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's just take a break right now and just talk about some. Okay, here's Julian. Perfect. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, that's a lot better. Perfect. Okay. So let's go back. Let's backtrack a little bit from where we are in the stream. You're good, man. So we're talking about the run game for the Niners. That's your offensive key.
Yeah. So basically, I think that we need to get the zone rushing going because they are literally the worst zone rushing defense in the whole entire league. The worst. And we run zone run the 11th most out of any team. And our zone success rate is pretty good. It's 16th in the league. It's not as good as last year, obviously, because, well, we don't have George Kittle. We don't have Raheem Mostert. We don't really have Raheem Mostert, he's great at zone run. We're not bad. We're pretty good going, and they're just a terrible zone running team. First of all, they're terrible at defending the run, period.
Yeah, they just have a bad defense all around, really.
Getting the run game going, get that zone run game going, I think that'll force them to come downhill, and then we can do some play action off of that and get some big plays with Ayuk. I think that dropping back in a known, like if you're second and long or third and 7, you know you're going to pass the ball. You want to stay ahead of the sticks so you can do those play action, work off the play action, and it'll be much easier going against a secondary that doesn't have Trayvon Diggs, and they're missing a couple players, and one of them's questionable, so I'm not sure with that. But their secondary is depleted as well. So I think that the key, getting the run game going, get that zone run game going, build the play action off of it, and get like Ayuk and Jordan Reed's been struggling, but he's still good. Richie James, I think he
stepped up big time.
Number 2. You look at when targeting him, he has like a 128 QBR or pass rating when he's targeting. Pass rating when targeting Richie James, 128.8. He's on target 81% of the time. I don't know why they keep on throwing it to Bourne more than James. I think James is the better wide receiver, so I think you can go downfield with Ayuk and James. And I think building off that run is going to be key.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the reason they just target Bourne a lot more is in my opinion, he is a bit of a better red zone target. It's just the hands that is a major problem. And that really cost us the game last time against Washington. So you may see a limited role from Kendrick Bourne, especially after that game, giving it more to Richie James. So I definitely think that's another guy to look out for. But let's go back to the zone run that you just talked about. And I know for a fact that Kyle Shanahan is licking his chops when looking at this matchup for the 49ers. I mean, this matchup on paper looks so good for the 49ers this week. And the 49ers could really just dominate this game all around. Really, they could just passing game could be executed. Run game can be executed. Every small little detail can be executed. And there's definitely some guys that need to step up for that. Obviously, we said Nick Mullens. I'm going to talk about Ross Dwelly a bit. Obviously, last week, I mean, his blocking has been good in the run. And we definitely need that guy to be good, a good tight end run blocker. But this week it's going to be a bit more increased because no Charlie Warner, who's got a much more increased role in the past few games. He's out with COVID. So I definitely think that Ross Dwelly is going to have a major factor in this game. Okay, this is getting a bit annoying with Julian kind of cutting out. But, I mean, hey, man, we'll deal with it. But, yeah, for sure. Okay, so... yeah, I definitely think Julian makes a great point right there with the all right, here he is. Let's see. You good? Yeah, you're good. Your internet's it's probably out with a high ankle sprain for a few weeks, so yeah, and I think he froze again. But okay. We were just talking about the run game. Let's continue with the run game. And I mean, You're definitely going to see. I definitely think this is one of those games where you're going to see the ball in a lot of players' hands. You're going to see a lot of Raheem Mostert runs. You might see a lot of Jeff Wilson runs. Maybe even Jerick McKinnon runs. I don't know. Juszczyk might get the ball a little bit. We'll have to see what happens. But I think this is a game where there's going to be a lot of handoffs all around to multiple different running backs. It's going to be a committee. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this run game. I think Julian, are you frozen again? Yes, he is. Okay. Okay. This sounds good. Okay. While Julian's gone, I talked about my Cowboys offensive key, which is protecting Andy Dalton. Let's just move on to the defense. I know this stream's going kind of quickly. Obviously, we're dealing with some difficulties trying to fix that. My apologies. We'll get through it. I'll upload some stream highlights after, see what I can do. I might have to play around with the video a little bit. May come out really close to game time. We'll see what happens, but hopefully Julian's internet can act up, and we'll hopefully get this going back on track. So my apologies for that. Niners defense. Let's talk about the Niners defense. And my key for the Niners defense, and okay, Julian's back now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any more thing to say about the run game for the 49ers offense?
No, I'm good on
All right, perfect. I talked about my Cowboys offensive key. Let's move on to your Cowboys offensive key, and I can talk about mine a bit later. What you got for your Cowboys offensive key?
Well, I think that getting CeeDee Lamb the ball. CeeDee Lamb, if you just look at the efficiency with him on when it comes from basically man coverage versus zone coverage, right? He is a much, much better zone coverage zone coverage receiver than man coverage. And what are the Niners? They run zone coverage, right? You look at basically his in man coverage, CeeDee Lamb's passer rating is 61. Then when you go to zone, 123.3, right? He's just a much better player. He has 10 explosive plays in zone, only 4 in man. You look at that, so I think that this is going to be a big CeeDee Lamb game. I'm predicting that they're going to target him a lot because of that zone coverage. Now, if the Niners were a man team, I would say they're probably going to go to Cooper, who's the better man receiver because he's just a really good route runner. And so I think that CeeDee Lamb, I would say if I'm their coach, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I would say that getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb against this zone coverage would be something that I would want to do. And I think that it's going to work well. It's going to work better than targeting Cooper, who isn't very good against the zone compared to CeeDee Lamb. So that's one of my offensive keys for Dallas.
Yeah, for sure. And getting CeeDee Lamb open, I talked about him a little bit, but he's definitely going to be that guy he's going to be the best matchup for the 49ers, or the strongest matchup, most difficult matchup for the 49ers to go against tomorrow against the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he's a guy that can really do it all. And Amari Cooper, he's really that X guy that I think Richard Sherman can do a pretty good job against him. CeeDee Lamb, I feel like you can line him up anywhere, especially against zone coverage, is going to be key it's going to be key for the Cowboys to utilize him. And that kind of translates to my Cowboys offensive key, which is just protecting Andy Dalton, because they're going to need to give Andy Dalton all the time in the world to be able to make those passes, be able to utilize all his options, be able to look everywhere, and be able to just throw the ball wherever he wants. CeeDee Lamb's probably going to be his main guy, and protection is going to help him get open. As I like to say, protection is the lifeline of this offense. It's just going to, it's the lifeline of any offense, really. If you don't have good protection, you're going to fail. Look at the 49ers this year. It does not look good for this 49ers team. So I definitely think protection for Andy Dalton is definitely going to be, in my opinion, the biggest Cowboys key. And it's really just going to help the entire offense, because you're going to get Cooper open, Gallup open, CeeDee Lamb open, even Zeke open. And the Cowboys really could have a big game, because we've seen what they can do with Dak Prescott. And if Andy Dalton gets the protection that he needs, hot take, but he could do what Dak Prescott has been doing. Because protection is really, it really just puts the quarterback in the best position he can possibly be. So, yeah, I definitely think that it's important to protect the quarterback.
I think that, yeah, for sure, I agree. And what Dallas wants to do with Andy Dalton is keep him in the pocket. You look at in the pocket, the percentage of dropbacks in which he was in the pocket, 89% of the time. That's a lot. Quarterback rating while throwing in the pocket, 84. That's top. That's good. On target 78% of the time. That's really good. And he's not hurried 83% of the time, had only 4 hurries last week. I think that you look at this team, what they want to do is keep him in the pocket, pass it to CeeDee Lamb, build off of Ezekiel Elliott. I know he hasn't been as good as in recent weeks, but he's still an extremely efficient running back. If you just look at the numbers, I know it doesn't seem like that, but he is. He's an efficient running back, and I think that they want to keep him in the pocket. And I think that the Niners, usually we want to keep quarterbacks in the pocket as well, but he's not Russell Wilson. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not Lamar. And if you get him out of the pocket, he's just not as good. He's just not a great out-of-pocket thrower. So I think getting him under pressure, forcing him out of the pocket, forcing him to throw on the run, he's not that good at that. I think that's one of the main keys if you are the 49ers defense, and one of the main keys for the offense is keep him in the pocket without getting smacked around, without getting a bunch of pressure in his face. Because he's a very quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking about pocket presence, let's talk about that a little bit, because the Niners have struggled when quarterbacks are able to get out of the pocket and get the ball and throw the ball, get the ball out. And Andy Dolan cannot do that. And this goes more to show that this is such a perfect matchup for the 49ers. You got like the edge rushing for Raheem Mostert and all the guys in the run game. And then you got Andy Dolan, who is he's gonna want to stay in the pocket. And that's where the Niners thrive in getting to the quarterback. When someone's in the pocket, they can get it there. When they're out of the pocket, it looks way, way worse. And as Dom says right here, this could be a very good opportunity for Kinlaw. Obviously, he's not much of a pass rusher, but if he stays in the pocket, he's going to have damn well a much better chance to get to the quarterback and attack Andy Dolan. So this could be a massive game for the 49ers defense. And if you're ready, do you want to move on to the key for the 49ers defense? All right. I think he might be frozen again, but are you there? I thought I heard something, but okay. Let's move on to the 49ers defense for a little bit. Again, if you're just joining, Julian's having a bit of technical oh, there you are. You ready to move on? Frozen again. Okay. We're just gonna move on. I'm gonna make that executive decision. We're moving on to the Niners defense. And Julian, you want to start Niners defense key off? Or he's frozen again. All right. Okay. All right. You there, Julian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to start off with your 49ers defensive key? You there? You want to start off with your 49ers defense key, Julian? I think he keeps freezing, but
back to the offensive key for the Cowboys, and that's for me is that stopping.
Let me just text him like
stop him. I honestly do believe he could hang like 100 on.
You keep freezing on and off. I don't know. Can you just repeat that real quick if you can? Let me text him. Guys, I'm so sorry for the difficulties. It's all good. I'm going to try to get some stream clips up if I can. It might be a bit hard because of the download time of this video, but the basic progression of this video for all of you guys watching, I'll make sure to put this in the comments. Niners offense, Cowboys offense, Niners defense, Cowboys defense. We're going to do all of that. Okay, now I think, Julian, you're good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. So Niners defense key. You keep freezing on and off. It's all good though.
Yeah, sorry about that. Stop CeeDee Lamb. He's great against the zone. Like I said, I already went over the stats of how good he is against zone versus man. And this defense, Salah loves to run a lot of zone. And so I think that stopping CeeDee Lamb, I think that he could have a really big game. So I think one of my keys is stopping CeeDee Lamb. And I think that another one is hitting Zeke behind the line of not behind the line of scrimmage, but don't let him barrel over you. Don't let him get that full head of steam. I know he's not as fast and as explosive as he used to be, but he is still very if he gets a full head of steam, he can run you over, is what I'm saying. And okay, I guess you're not worried about Zeke, but Zeke is probably the better back statistically.
Yeah, he's probably the better back, but I mean, to go to your point, Pollard could have a very big role too. I definitely can see what Callie's saying right here. Pollard could have a big role in this offense too, but I definitely think if you're the 49ers, you're definitely game planning more around Zeke. And that's also why Pollard could have a big game, because maybe they try something else with Pollard. They go after Zeke. Something like that. I don't know. But I think, yeah, I'm definitely with you. I think that Zeke is probably going to be the main problem. But continue.
Yeah, because what I was saying, the yards before contact for Dallas, it's 1.71. That's 23rd worst. Yards before contact for the Niners is their defense is 1.76. That's 12th best. So I think hitting him first is going to be really important before he can get down a full head of steam. I know Fred Warner, I don't know how much he's going to play with his concussion. I'm not sure, but I think that's going to be, he is really getting to him before you want to clog the gaps. That's basically what I'm saying in Kinlaw and our defensive tackles. Clog the gap so we can't get that full head of steam going into your linebackers or wherever he's running to. So I think that clogging the gaps and hitting him early in his run is going to be key.
Yeah, for sure. And mine's kind of basing off of that. I know you said like stopping CeeDee Lamb. That's one of your keys to the game. And my key to the game is kind of like that. It's just cornerback play, a bit more broad, but cornerback play, in my opinion, is going to be the key to the game, because you look at the Cowboys, and as I said with my Cowboys offense key, they're loaded across the board with weapons. You got Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, Pollard, loaded across the board. And they're going to want to pass to win this game, because this game, in my opinion, is going to be a very close game. And in a very close game, you have to get the passing game down. It's that simple. So I definitely think that the Niners cornerbacks, I should say, it's going to be a tough matchup for them. All of them, I should say. And maybe we might not have K'Waun Williams. We might not have Emmanuel Mosley. Those are two guys on our defense who could come in and step up in a big way. And if we don't have them, we could struggle a lot. So I definitely think cornerback play is going to be key. It's also going to be very important for the 49ers that if they can get this good game and maybe get a little bit of momentum, obviously, like in my opinion, I think we're out of the playoffs, but this team, I believe that this team is, they think they're going to make the playoffs without a doubt. They're going to try to make the playoffs easily, because that's what you do as a football team. You try to win games. So if this cornerback core can have a strong push against this team, then go into Arizona and Seattle with that strong push and that strong momentum, this could be a whole different story, and we could really turn the season around. So I definitely think today, this game is obviously, in my opinion, is probably the most important game of the year, because if we lose, we're basically out of the playoffs. And if we win, then our hopes are pretty much kind of still alive, but not really. But if we want any chance of making the playoffs, this is a must-win game for us.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, obviously they're not going to tank for a quarterback. They're not going to tank for anything. They're trying to win, and I think that I don't understand why fans are like, oh, can we just lose the next three? I mean, you're not really a real fan if you're already looking towards the draft. I don't understand that. I always want my team to win.
I'm totally with you, man. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that they're gonna try their hardest to come out here and just go out to Dallas and smack the Cowboys and prove that they're still a good team, even with a backup quarterback. And I believe that they can do that. I believe that I would not be surprised if they won by double digits. You still got Kyle Shanahan. You still got a top 5, top 7 defense. So I honestly do believe that it'll be a close game.
Okay, I think Julian might have froze again. But, I mean, to his point, like, this is going to be a very close game. And as AC says right here, I mean, tank is just a concept. No team really tanks on purpose, unless you're the Jets. Haha. But, yeah, man, this team's going to go out and try to win. Kyle Shanahan is a gritty coach. He's going to want all of it. And, I mean, you can't name a time on the 49ers where Kyle Shanahan has tried to tank, even with such bad teams. Like, we are 1-10 in 2017, and instead of just taking it and saying, oh, well, let's just get the number 1 overall pick. Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold just sitting right there for us to pick up. He went out and got Garoppolo. We won 5 straight, couldn't tank anymore. 2018 kept trying to win games, even though we were injured to hell. 2019, we go 13-3. And this season, we're staying alive, somehow staying alive, even though this team's injured to hell. Kyle Shanahan will not tank. And if you think he's going to tank, if you're mad at him for not tanking, then please just go be a Seahawks fan, because those are the only people who root for us to lose on a consistent basis. So why are you even here? Just go be a Seahawks fan. So, yeah, for sure.
I like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you got anything else on Niners defense before we move to Cowboys defense?
No, that's all I got.
All right, perfect. That sounds good. So let's finish up with the Cowboys defense. And I know we saw a lot of comments so far about Alden Smith and Mike McGlinchey. And kind of backing off of Alden Smith and what he does, obviously he applies pressure. And that's my Cowboys defensive key today. It's just pressure, pressure, pressure. As I say every video, pressure kills everything. And this game is no exception because the Niners offensive line is so thin right now. Our starting lineup is going to be Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Brunskill, Justin School making his first career start at right guard, and Mike McGlinchey, who's obviously been struggling so much this year. So the right side of the offensive line is in deep trouble, if you ask me, man. It's just looking terrible for this right side. In my opinion, that's the biggest need in this offseason, not quarterback. The offensive line, just fixing that right side is going to be crucial for us. And that's why I made that mock draft a while ago where I was taking the offensive lineman in the first round. But that's besides the point. But for this game, Cowboys are going to have to capitalize on those opportunities because we're literally gifting them. We're literally gifting these opportunities to them right now. This is a game that the Cowboys can easily just attack Nick Mullens and absolutely dominate this line. And I definitely think that this game, it could get really out of hand if they just apply the pressure. So that's going to be my Cowboys defense, the key of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that what I was going to say, that's basically mine. One of mine is really get pressure on Mullens. And I think that Mullens, he's not great under pressure, but statistically he's not terrible. He's still on target 57% of the time when he's pressured, and his quarterback rating still a 54 under pressure, it sounds bad, but it's actually not that bad. It's middle of the pack. But I do think that Nick Mullens, if you can get him flustered, he will turn the ball over. You saw it was.
I don't know if he's frozen again, but Julian just mentioned turning the ball over, and you there now?
Yeah.
All right, you were talking about turning the ball over, and then you froze.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Oh my God!
And
you froze again. You're just like, oh, I was gonna say that, and then you just froze. The stream gods just do not want you to talk today, man. I'm telling you right now. They just want this to be a solo show. But all right, anyways, what you got? You're saying I was saying about turnovers then. Frozen again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You keep freezing in and out. You were just saying you were talking about the turnovers, and then you were gonna say I was just gonna say that, and then you froze again. Can you hear me now? Julian. Okay, now he's gone. Okay. So turnovers. And let's just talk about turnovers for a bit, because as I said, that's why we lost the game last week. Turnovers just killed us. They got 2 defensive touchdowns, Washington did. And it just killed us, man. You can't have that. And that's going to be something I usually never say it's a key to the game, because that's just imminent. That's just obvious. It has to be a key to the game. I know Vish mentioned it last week, but in my opinion, I'm going to say, I could say turnovers, just limiting the turnovers could be a key every time. And getting those turnovers is the key every time, because turnovers can change the way this game goes every time. And it's going to be very important to just limit those turnovers, as Julian was saying, and make sure that we're on track. We have the ball and we keep that possession. We get down the field. and limit the turnovers. So, yeah, for sure. You were saying something about turnovers, Julian?
Yeah, God.
Oh my God. As soon as he speaks, they just don't want him to speak today, man. I don't get it. It's just like he keeps freezing in and out, man. It's crazy. I don't know. This is like the timing of I'm more astounded by the timing of this, because whenever Julian tries to talk, they just keep freezing him. But yeah, I don't know what's up. It's all good. We're gonna roll whether or not his internet's acting up, whether it's not. We're gonna keep rolling on, see how it goes. But yeah, okay. Let's move on to key players. I don't know what. Okay, there you are. You keep, for every time you try to talk, you keep freezing. It's like as soon as you're about to talk. So, all right, what were you saying about turnovers? Hopefully this time it works.
Turnovers. The 2 turnovers resulted in 14 points, which is basically a 28-point swing because we didn't get the ball. We can't recover off of that, and Nick Mullens keeps on turning the ball over. There's no way we're winning against this really good offense. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. And I was saying, I think you were frozen when I was saying this. Just like turnovers, I could put that as a key to the game every week if I wanted to, but I don't. And I don't for the sole reason that it's a key. You have to keep the ball. Like you have to limit those turnovers, and you have to get the turnovers whenever possible. So yeah, I'm definitely with you. The turnovers have to come down a little bit from last week, obviously, because last week we lost the game on turnovers. This week, if we turn the ball over, it could really sway this game, because right now, and we'll talk about score prediction in a little bit, but this is going to be a very close game. And you definitely have to keep those turnovers to a minimum for both teams. That's really key for all the teams. You just keep turnovers for a minimum. And if you do that, you win this game. It's that simple. So, yeah, for sure. All right, Julian, you got anything else about Cowboys defense? Any other keys to the game for any sides of the ball? I think he might be frozen right now. Oh, there you are. You got any other things to say about keys to the game for any team?
Yeah, for Dallas defense, I would say, I just got to do this quick. Make Mullens throw the ball more than 30 times. So that means you want to get ahead. The more he throws, especially with that turn.
I think he froze again, but yeah, kind of backing off what he was saying, just like making Mullens throw the ball often that's going to be key. You froze again. I don't know if you were okay, now he froze again. But yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to my key with pressure. Okay, are you there now?
Yeah.
All right, you froze. You froze when you were talking about Mullens throwing the ball. If you want to finish up what you're saying.
Throws, the more chances you are for a turnover, basically. And another one for the Cowboys defense: don't let Ayuk beat you. I would say that they don't have Debo. That he's not 100%. He hasn't really been 100% all year, and I think that Ayuk he's extremely talented, and he could put up 125 and a touchdown. I honestly do believe that. So I think that stopping Ayuk, let's say if Richie James puts up 120 and a touchdown, okay, you know what? Great job, Kyle Shanahan. Great job. Like, you can't stop. You can't. There's just not much you can do about that. And so I think that don't let Ayuk go crazy on you. Basically, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, and let's talk about Ayuk for a sec, because we have not brought up his name too much in this video, but he's going to be the key to this offense. He's going to be the key to all the success in this offense. With no Deebo Samuel, the offense is going to run through Brandon Ayuk. They're going to target him the most by far, in my opinion. Not Richie. I don't see Richie James getting the most targets. I don't see how anyone else gets the most targets besides Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is going to. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, yeah, definitely Richie James is not getting more targets than Ayuk. Ayuk got 16 targets without Deebo last week. So
yeah, I mean, the offense is going to run through him. And, I mean, it's going to be so important for him to put up a good game, which I'm confident he can do. And, yeah, I mean, I can't stress enough how important Brandon Ayuk is to this offense this game. With no Deebo, he's going to be our main guy. We're going to run a lot of fun things with him. So it's going to be really fun to watch Brandon Ayuk. And I definitely think we can just segue into key players if you're down for that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, yeah. So let's just start off with Brandon Ayuk. I mean, the offense is going to run through Brandon Ayuk, and I don't see how that's going to change. I mean, by the way, fantasy, if you have in fantasy playoffs, if you have a playoff game on the line, DFS, start Brandon Ayuk. That is going to be my key for you because Brandon Ayuk is going to get so much action, so many targets, maybe even some rushing action. It's going to be so fun to watch him. He's going to have a monster game. I'm calling it right now. If I'm wrong, go back to this point, 40 minutes and 40 seconds and 4 seconds. Go back to it. Send that to me. Do whatever you want. But Brandon Ayuk is going to be the key to this game for the 49ers. Key players of this game, in my opinion. In my opinion, that he's the most important one. Other guys to watch out for, Nick Mullens, just got to be a bit more consistent as usual. Limit the turnovers, as I like to say. Ross Dwelly's going to have an extended role with no Charlie Warner. So expect him to do a little bit more blocking in the run game. And then on the offensive line, I'm going to put McGlinchey again because I always do, and he's been just struggling so much this year. Justin School making his first start at right guard. I'll put him there too. And on the defensive side, I got 2 guys in a position. Eric Armstead, I just want to see more for him. It's that simple. And I know we talked about Kinlaw a little bit with Dom saying that, and Kinlaw could have a monster game as well. I might as well just put him on my defensive key players for the 49ers. But Kinlaw could have a monster game. The other guy I'm going to watch out for is Dre Greenlaw. And like last week, I know on pregame last week, I was with Vish. We both said that he's going to be the most important part to this defense, and he was, and he balled out last week. And I think this week is no exception. I definitely think he's going to have to step it up, both in the pass game and the run game, and he's going to come through. So I think Dre Greenlaw is going to have a very important part in this Niners defense. Last key player to this game, all the cornerbacks. This is going to be a tough challenge for them, going against all the receivers. My key of the game was defensive play, so all the cornerbacks for me are going to be key players to this game for the 49ers.
Yeah, well, you name like everyone on the defense, but like
yeah, I know.
For me, my offense, I would say that the running backs, mainly Jeff Wilson, because he'll probably be the person that gets the most carries. I would say he's a key. I think that if you can get that run game going, go off the play action. And I got my 2 key. I got Richie James and Brandon Ayuk as my other 2 because we need Richie. I don't understand why we're not getting Richie James more involved. I read
totally with you, man.
How much better he is. Like when Nick Mullens is targeting him, he just performs better than when Nick Mullens targets Kendrick Bourne. It's just a fact. I don't understand. He can run good routes. He has good hands. He's a punt returner. He has good hands. You saw it against Green Bay, and then for some reason he's just not playing there anymore. I don't know. Maybe Kyle Shanahan has a reason. I would love to hear it. I don't know why. I feel like he's good enough that you should be able to play him. And so I'm gonna say Jeff Wilson, Ayuk, and Richie James are probably those 3. For defense, I got Dre Green as well. He's one of my 2. And I say that because Fred Warner, he got injured.
Could be out too. I didn't even talk about that part.
Yeah, I don't know, but Dre Greenlaw was a stud last week. Getting without Quan, he struggled to adjust without him because, I don't know, it's hard for a second-year player. And then this past few games, he's been a beast. He hasn't been as good as Fred Warner, but he's getting up there. He is really, really good. I think that this is going to be a game where I think that he can show that he is a good linebacker in the league. Like he's up and coming. And Kinlaw and the rest of the defensive tackles having integrity, clogging the gaps for Ezekiel Elliott. And I think that, it is a big. And I think that stopping Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, because no matter what you say, Pollard's better than Zeke. Zeke's better, whatever. I don't really care. Zeke has fallen off. He's still a good running back. Pollard's a good running back. And this team wants to run the ball. They're running.
They're trying to get that 1-2 punch, and I've definitely noticed that in those last few games. They're really trying to go from Zeke being the workhorse to getting that 1-2 punch of Zeke and Pollard. And I'm kind of concerned the Niners might not even have planned for Pollard. They might be looking at Zeke and just saying the Niners they're just gonna use Zeke a lot. Could be a big deal, but we'll have to see what happens. But Pollard could be a real problem, as Callie says right here. So yeah, I'm definitely with you on that for sure. So. Yeah, you got any other 49ers players you want to talk about?
No, those are my key players for the Niners.
All right, that sounds good. Let's talk about the Cowboys key players, and I'll start it off starting with Andy Dolan. I talked about him earlier about the protection, having to protect, and the protection is not going to help unless he's consistent. And he, like Mullens, he needs to be consistent. This is a duel of backup quarterbacks that have been struggling a lot throughout the year. Both are going to have to step it up if they want to win this game. So Andy Dolan, definitely one of the guys. We talked a lot about CeeDee Lamb. I don't really need to go into that anymore. You guys can go back in the video, watch that. But in my opinion, he's the best option to get all those points. Best matchup for the Cowboys when going against this defense. And then I'm also going to put the entire offensive line and the entire defensive line. I said protection and pressure, the two keys to the game for the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone on those two lines needs to take part in it. And this game for the Cowboys is going to be one in the trenches. And I don't see how it wouldn't be. I think this game, I mean, even if it's just like runs up the middle, if it's like just protection, pressure, this game is going to be one in the trenches for the Dallas Cowboys if they win this game. So they're going to have a key part in this game. And in my opinion, those two guys, those two sides of the ball are going to be the most important, in my opinion. And then the other guy I have is Trayvon Diggs. He should be the guy going up against Brandon Ayuk. And that should just be a fun matchup to watch. I know Trayvon Diggs, he hasn't done as well as you'd expect this year, but he's definitely starting to look a bit better. So that's always good.
I thought Diggs was on the IR.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I didn't see. Let me see. Am I thinking of someone else? No, they will all play on Sunday.
Oh, they activated him?
Yeah, they activated him from IR. So he is coming back. I know he was playing pretty well before he was on IR. So yeah, Trayvon Diggs should be back. Should be a fun matchup to watch against him and Ayuk. Well, that's what I got for the Dallas Cowboys players.
The thing, if Diggs is on Ayuk, that's not a good Diggs, the thing is extremely raw. That guy has
definitely.
He's great. And the reason that he dropped to the second round is because he's extremely raw. And then in the beginning, he was just getting burned. You saw against Terry, he stopped his feet. He got burned. He was like 5 yards away from him. That's what I'm worried. I think that Ayuk can do that a couple times on. If Trayvon Diggs matches up on him, he's going to get greedy. He's going to do something stupid, a rookie mistake. And I think Ayuk can exploit that. And for me, I said I got a couple for the Cowboys offense. I got CeeDee Lamb as my first one. And you said about winning the trenches.
Alrighty, okay. You froze once you said CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're good though.
Okay, yeah. So I think that you said So CeeDee Lamb. I went over the points before. You can go back and watch it. Why I think that CeeDee Lamb should have a big game, and so I think targeting CeeDee Lamb against a heavily zoned defense is going to be key. And Elliott, getting him going. He gets better as the game goes on. I think you just have to get him those carries. He's still a good running back. I'm telling you. Look at his efficiency. He's still good. He's not a bad running back. Yards per carry is at 3.9. That's not bad. Dominator rating at 22.6%. That's really good. That's good.
Absolutely, man.
And I think that they also stack the box on him 11.8% of the time, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is a lot. And I think that he is I think that he's still a good running back. And I think that getting him going, and then you can target CeeDee Lamb off of play action and stuff like that. I think those are my two key offensive players. And for defense, have you gone over your defensive for
yeah, I just said Trayvon Diggs in the defensive line for the Cowboys.
I would say that Alden Smith getting pressure. I think that
I didn't even talk about him, but you can talk about him. Go ahead.
Alden Smith going against McGlinchey, or he'll probably go against McGlinchey. I don't think he's going to go against Williams. McGlinchey, he's regressed. I think he lost too much weight, and he hasn't been. I don't know what's up with his regimen. It's just he's just not that good right now. Now, I think that Alden Smith, he wasn't the player he was when the Niners drafted him his rookie year when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. But he's still quality. Saw him at scoop and score touchdown last week. He can get pressure. And the second one is those linebackers stopping this running game. They need to step it up.
Absolutely.
Jalen Smith, and they have Van Der Esch, right?
Let me check. I think Leighton Van Der Esch. Let me see on the. Yeah, they do have Lane Vander Esch. Did he freeze again? He might have. Okay. They do have Lane Vander. Yeah, Julian, they do have Lane Vander Esch. Frozen again. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely. Let's just touch up on the linebacker point. All right, there you go. Now you're unfrozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Lane Vander Esch is healthy. Continue what you're about to say.
And the run defense is bad, but when they played against the Ravens, Lamar just popped off, and that was one of the big reasons that statistically why they're that bad. I don't know if they're as bad as their stats say, because they did lose Vander Esch, probably their best linebacker for, I don't know, like 6 weeks or whatever it was. But they're still not a good run defense, so I think that those linebackers, if they can just step it up again, Vander Esch step it up, and stop this run defense, they have a good chance of winning. So
yeah, for sure. I definitely think the linebackers are going to be a big key to this game, in my opinion. And it's going to look, the run game could really dominate. As we've been saying, the run game could really dominate. Going against that edge rushing, it could look really good for the 49ers. And the linebackers are going to have a massive role for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the linebackers really have the most massive role on the defense because they're really all around. They can do a lot of things for any defense. So the linebackers definitely, in my opinion, a big key to this game, big position to watch. So, yeah, for sure. All right. You got any other key players you want to mention?
No, that's it.
All right. That sounds good. Let's get into score prediction. I want to start off with you. What you got for your score prediction?
I think it's going to be tight. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring, but I do think that this Dallas Cowboys offense can put up points on this team, mainly because I do think Nick Mullens is good for 1 to 2 turnovers. I think they're going to get a short field, and I think that they can capitalize off that, even though we do have good defense. So I'm going to say the Niners win 21-17. I think it's going to come down to a last-minute field goal. Now, that's obviously not super high scoring, but our offense isn't that good, and our defense is good. And I think that Andy Dalton, he's not Dak Prescott, but this offense can still put up points, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat this Niners team. I'm going to say 21-17.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think the Niners are going to win this game, but it could really go the other way. And as we saw last week, the turnovers, dropping the balls, that really turned the game around last week. And that could very much happen this week. And really, every team's going to need to execute those keys, all 8 of the keys that we talked about. Those keys are going to be so important for each team to execute. And even like not executing the slightest key perfectly is going to cost the team a game. And my score prediction is going to be the Niners win 31-30. In my opinion, this is going to be a more offensively focused game. And it's going to be very close, but I think the X factor in this game is going to be the lack of the defensive firepower from the Dallas Cowboys. They need to step it up a bit more. I don't think they're going to be able to do that, and therefore I have the 49ers win this game. But we both have the 49ers win this game. We both have the 49ers going to 6-8, and we'll have to see how it goes from there. So, yeah, for sure. You got any other final thoughts before we end this video? Of course, this video just ends with Julian. Okay, you back now?
Yeah.
You got any final thoughts before we end?
Final thoughts, I would just say that I think Nick Mullens, I don't think he's as bad as all these people on Twitter and
absolutely
like YouTube videos. It's like Nick Mullens is garbage. Look, he's a backup quarterback.
What do you expect? Exactly.
Playing like this, yeah, we would, but we're not paying Nick Mullens $26 million a year. We're paying him less than $1 million. What do you expect? What we want to throw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns every game? Like he's a backup quarterback, and he's going to be a backup quarterback for he'll probably be a backup for the rest of his career. And there's nothing wrong with that. But he's making $750,000 a year. He's undrafted. Just take it easy. First of all, people didn't realize how good that Washington defense is. It's probably the second. It might be better than Pittsburgh, considering all the injuries Pittsburgh has had. It might be the best defense in the league. You can make that argument that is the best defense in the league. And for a backup quarterback who wins the best defense, second best defense, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, yeah, he's going to struggle. And he did. He struggled more than he should have, but he's still a backup quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that he played well and he didn't play remotely well. He didn't, but he's still a backup. I think that against this Cowboys defense, he's going to show that he can be a competent quarterback in the NFL. And I do believe that I think that he gets 2 touchdowns and over 225 yards, and he goes, all right. And I think that he could have a good game. So I think that don't just try to trash Mullens yet, because he was going against a really tough defense, and he's a backup quarterback. He's not a starter. We're holding him to the standard of a backup, not to the standard of Jimmy Garoppolo. You can't hold a guy making $750,000 a year to a guy making $26 million a year. All right, so I think that people should just take it easy on Mullens.
You said it perfectly right there. I don't really need to say anything else, because really what I have against Nick Mullens, you said it perfectly for me right there. And I mean, all I can really say is, like, he's a backup quarterback. What do you expect? But if you're a Niners fan, I'm sorry. And if you don't like Nick Mullens, but you're going to have to ride or die with this guy. It's that simple. For the rest of the year, this is the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. This is a guy who you're going to have to trust for the rest of the year. This is a guy who's going to win you games for the rest of the year. And this is the guy you have to support for the rest of the year. And there's no other way around that. I know you could put a guy like Beathard in. I know you could put Josh Johnson in. But let's be real. CJ Beathard and Josh Johnson are trash. Nick Mullens is the best option at quarterback right now. And if you want to win games, then you put Nick Mullens in. And if you don't like it, suck it up, because that's the best option we have. It's that simple. So you said it perfectly right there. Hopefully Nick Mullens can step it up. I think that's a perfect note to end the stream on, unless you got anything else to say. All right. He is frozen. If he comes back, I'll ask what happens. But anyways, guys, I know this was a very difficult stream with all the technical difficulties. I want to thank you guys for sticking through it all, tuning in, doing it all here. Thank you guys so much for just sticking around throughout and everything. Hopefully Julian will fix it next time he's on here. But Julian, I don't know if you can hear me, but thanks for coming on. Really appreciate having you here. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Go Niners.